Have you ever noticed how the first night in a new place feels almost impossible to sleep through, even when you're exhausted? Your brain won't quiet down, your body won't relax, and you're acutely aware of every unfamiliar sound and shadow in the room. Well, today we're exploring exactly why this happens and what it reveals about your brain's remarkable safety system.
Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Welcome back to Cellular Wisdom Podcast, the show where we explore the fascinating science behind how your body works. I'm your female host, and I'm joined, as always, by our male host. Today, we're diving into something that probably affects you more often than you realize, especially if you travel, move homes, or experience any major life transitions. And we're anchoring this discussion in cutting-edge neuroscience that really helps us understand what's happening in those frustrating first nights.
The thing that fascinates me most about this topic is that it's not a disorder. It's not insomnia. It's not a weakness in your ability to sleep. It's actually evidence of a sophisticated neural circuit that's working exactly as it evolved to work. Your brain is protecting you. In fact, researchers have identified a very specific mechanism that explains why we struggle with sleep in new environments. And understanding this mechanism can completely change how you approach the problem.
That's such an important reframe. Because most of us lie there in the dark, frustrated, thinking there's something wrong with us. We might blame the bed, or the room temperature, or the fact that we didn't exercise enough that day. But the reality is that your brain is being hypervigilant for a very good reason. There's a dedicated neural circuit that keeps you more alert the first night in a new space. This circuit doesn't care that you're in a luxury hotel or your best friend's guest room. It just knows you're somewhere unfamiliar, and it's designed to keep you safer until your brain decides your surroundings are secure.
Exactly. And here's where the science gets really interesting. Specific neurons in your brain release a chemical messenger that signals other brain regions to maintain wakefulness. This isn't happening by accident. This is a coordinated response. Your brain is essentially telling your body, we need to stay alert until we've assessed whether this environment is safe. Now, when you think about human evolution, this makes complete sense. Our ancestors couldn't just drift off to sleep in a cave they'd never been in. They needed to listen for predators, understand the acoustic environment, know where the exits were. That circuitry is still wired into your brain today, even if you're checking into a 5-star hotel in Manhattan.
And that's why the first night effect is so universal. We see it across cultures, across age groups, across all kinds of people. It's not something you can just willpower your way through because you're not dealing with a conscious choice. You're dealing with deep neurological programming. What's really interesting, though, is that once your brain decides it's safe, once it's calibrated to that new environment, the sleep improves dramatically. Usually by the second night, sometimes even the second half of the first night if you're lucky. That rapid improvement is the giveaway that this is an adaptation response, not a sleep problem.
Now, of course, modern life adds layers of complexity to this natural response. When you travel or move to a new place, you're not just dealing with the unfamiliar environment itself. You're dealing with routine disruption. Your circadian rhythm is expecting you to be doing your morning routine in a familiar location, eating at familiar times, exposing your eyes to light at familiar times. You're also dealing with unfamiliar sensory input. Different sounds, different smells, different light filtering through the windows. And many people experience emotional stress around the transition itself. Maybe you're anxious about a new job, or nervous about the move, or excited in a way that keeps your nervous system activated.
All of those factors reinforce that alert state. So the first night sleep challenge isn't just one thing. It's the brain's inherent safety mechanism combined with circadian disruption, combined with sensory novelty, combined with emotional activation. That's why a simple fix like taking a sleep aid isn't really the answer. You're not addressing what's actually happening. And here's something Dr. Mercola emphasizes across his work on sleep health. You want to work with your nervous system, not against it. The goal isn't to chemically knock yourself out. The goal is to teach your nervous system that this new space is safe.
That's the insight that changes everything. Once you understand that you're dealing with a safety response, your entire approach shifts. Instead of thinking, how do I force my body to sleep? You start thinking, how do I help my nervous system feel secure? And there are genuinely effective strategies for this because they're working with your biology rather than fighting it. One of the simplest and most powerful approaches is to bring familiar items with you. This might sound small, but it's neurologically significant. Your pillow from home carries your own scent, which your brain recognizes as safe. A familiar blanket does the same thing. Even wearing sleep clothes that smell like your own bed can activate your nervous system's recognition of safety.
I love that because it bridges the gap between the ancestral wisdom and modern neuroscience. We have these comfort objects, these familiar textures and scents, and for generations, people have intuited that they matter for sleep. Now we understand why. Your olfactory system, your sense of smell, is directly connected to your limbic system, which controls threat detection and safety perception. When you smell something familiar and safe, you're literally signaling to your brain that you can relax. You're not in danger. You can lower your guard. And that chemical messenger we mentioned earlier, the one that's keeping you alert, starts to quiet down.
Beyond scent and familiarity, controlling the sensory environment makes a huge difference. Light is one of the most powerful inputs for your circadian rhythm and your nervous system. If you're in a new place with light streaming through the windows at an unfamiliar angle, that's sending a signal to your brain that everything is different. Using blackout curtains or an eye mask isn't about physical darkness. It's about reducing that novelty signal. It's about helping your nervous system recognize something familiar. The same goes for sound. If you're used to a quiet bedroom at home and you're suddenly hearing street noise or the hum of a different HVAC system, your brain notices. White noise or earplugs can help normalize that acoustic environment.
Temperature is another one that people often overlook. Your core body temperature is part of your circadian signal. If the room is too warm or too cold compared to what your body is accustomed to, that's just another piece of unfamiliar input that keeps your nervous system activated. Dr. Mercola has written extensively about how even slight temperature variations can affect sleep quality and your ability to transition into deep sleep stages. So if you can control the thermostat or bring extra blankets or layer your bedding in a way that feels familiar, you're removing another barrier to sleep.
And then there's the element of ritual and routine. This is powerful. Your bedtime routine signals to your body that sleep is coming. Now, when you're in a new environment, that routine might feel disconnected. You might be brushing your teeth at the hotel sink instead of your bathroom at home. You might be changing into sleep clothes in an unfamiliar closet. But if you can maintain the actual sequence of your routine, the order and timing of what you do before sleep, your nervous system recognizes it. You're creating an island of familiarity within the unfamiliar space. You might do your evening stretches, or read for 15 minutes, or practice breathing exercises, or meditate. The specific activities matter less than the fact that you're recreating the pattern your body recognizes.
What's interesting about the ritual aspect is that it also gives your conscious mind something to focus on besides anxiety about the new environment. A lot of what keeps people awake the first night is rumination. They're lying there thinking about everything that's different, everything that could go wrong, noticing every sound. By anchoring yourself in a familiar bedtime ritual, you're essentially interrupting that thought pattern. You're signaling to yourself that this is a known situation, a known sequence, something you've successfully navigated many times before.
Now, let's talk about something that Dr. Mercola emphasizes in all his sleep content: supporting your natural melatonin production. Melatonin is the hormone your body produces when it's time to sleep, and it's exquisitely sensitive to light. When you're in a new environment, especially if there's unfamiliar light patterns, your melatonin production can be disrupted. One way to support this is through light exposure during the day. Getting bright light exposure early in your new location, especially in the morning, actually helps reset your circadian rhythm faster. It tells your body, this is where we are now, and this is when morning happens here. That helps your melatonin production sync more quickly to the new location.
And in the evening, you want to be protecting your melatonin production by minimizing light exposure, especially blue light from screens. If you're traveling and you're tempted to scroll through your phone or watch your laptop in bed, that's actively suppressing your melatonin. You're sending a signal to your brain that it's still daytime. So one of the most practical recommendations for that first night in a new place is to put your devices away well before bed. Give your eyes and your brain a solid hour or two without blue light exposure before you attempt sleep.
There's also something to be said about understanding electromagnetic fields, or EMF, which is something Dr. Mercola has researched extensively. New environments often have different electrical infrastructure. Hotel rooms, for instance, have more electrical systems nearby than you might be accustomed to. Some people are sensitive to these fields, and they can contribute to nervous system activation. While you can't control all of this, being aware of it helps. You might position your bed away from heavy electrical infrastructure if possible. You might disable Wi-Fi if you're not using it. These are small steps, but they're part of creating an environment where your nervous system can genuinely relax.
I think what's really empowering about understanding all of this is that you're not fighting against your biology. You're working with it. You're not saying, I should be able to sleep through anything. I'm weak for not sleeping my first night somewhere new. Instead, you're saying, my brain is doing something sophisticated and adaptive, and I can support that process. And most importantly, you know it's temporary. This intense alert state is specific to the first night, maybe the first couple of nights. Your brain is incredibly adaptive. It will learn that this new space is safe and sleep will improve. That knowledge alone reduces the anxiety and frustration that often keeps people awake.
That's the real takeaway. The first night in a new environment isn't a problem to solve. It's a phase to understand and support. When you bring familiar items, control sensory input, maintain your bedtime routine, support your natural melatonin production, and give your nervous system the information it needs to feel safe, you're working with that dedicated neural circuit rather than against it. You're acknowledging that your brain evolved to protect you, and you're helping it complete that job more smoothly. Over time, with each new space you sleep in, you can get better at this process. You can become more skilled at helping your nervous system transition to new environments.
And honestly, this insight applies to more than just travel and moves. Any major life transition comes with circadian disruption, sensory novelty, and emotional activation. A new job, a major event, even significant changes in your routine can trigger a similar alert state. Once you understand the mechanism, you can apply these same principles across different situations. You're not fighting your nature. You're respecting it while gently helping your body adapt. Dr. Mercola has always advocated for this kind of integrative approach to health, where you work with your body's systems rather than trying to override them. Sleep is no exception.
If you want to dive deeper into the neuroscience behind this and get more specific recommendations tailored to your situation, you can read the full article at Mercola.com. We'll have that link in the show notes as well. Thank you for joining us on Cellular Wisdom Podcast. This is where we explore the remarkable intelligence of your body and how to work with it rather than against it. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care of yourselves.
Looking for trusted health wisdom you can hold in your hands? Discover the life-changing books of Dr. Mercola at joyhousepublishing.com. These titles bring decades of natural health research into practical steps for better energy, stronger immunity, and clearer thinking. Take charge of your health with guidance rooted in science and experience. Visit joyhousepublishing.com now and claim your bonuses while they are available.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.